Hey girl, it's time to get messy, because today we're going to paint some minis and 3D models. So first off, what do you need? This is a lovely piece of plastic from the dollar store. It's actually a tablecloth of plastic for picnics. I'm going to use that to make sure that, you can see how messy I've been with this thing. We're going to grab some paint pots from the dollar store too while we're at it, and a jar to use as our lovely paint washing and wetness. You're going to need a modeling knife and a file. Optional is you can get this brush cleaner, which is pretty cool. I got this at an art store. While you're at the art store, you're also going to need to get yourself some brushes. The key brushes you're going to need are a big flat brush, a medium flat brush, and a couple of fine tip brushes. These should be as stiff as possible because these are you're going to use for your detailing. I have a few other ones here that are pretty much around the same thing. Just they've got some flat edges or curved edges, another size of detailing, even more detailing brushes that are slightly larger, just an array of size. You can normally find these at any paint store and you'll get an assortment that you need. Then you'll need some paint. First thing though is primer. The first thing you have to do with your model is prime it. Otherwise, you're not going to get any paint to it. I have both black and white primers. Then you're going to get the colors that you want to use. Don't be afraid to mix colors. That's what you got the palette for. So I actually don't have a lot of colors, and you'll see which colors I mix together here. Grab yourself some washes. These are going to go on after you've done painting, and they're going to add some special effects to your paints. Here's some more wash. And then finally, you're going to have to finish everything off with a varnish. This is so that the paint doesn't chip or come off on your game, because you really wouldn't want that to happen. Okay, you're all set up, so let's get going. These are the models that I painted today. First thing I did was inspected them and tried to find any lines that don't belong there. These ones had a line up here that I just went and scraped off with the sharp knife here. And then once you've done scraping off your lines, you want to file them down. What you also want to do is file any really, really smooth edges. Making your edges a little bit more rough is going to allow the paint and the primer to stick better. After you've done that, you're going to prime the model. You're going to put a little bit of water in the primer just to make it spread around a little bit more, and away you go. Let that dry. While that's drying, go wash the primer off your hands. And clean your brush. Never leave your brush in the water. Put it in the water, swish it around in the soap. It's going to come clear when it's ready, and then hang your brush up. Okay, now let's move on to painting. We're going to start with these guys here. So I've already primed them, and then we're going to go and paint them, and I have the artwork here from the box to go off of what I want it to look like. So you can see that there. Now, they have this darkish purplish tint to them. So what I did was took my purple, which is actually pretty bright, and I mixed it in with a dark tin-like color that's got a metallic in it, and that gave me the dark shade I wanted. Then I did the same thing, but adding silver to the purple to make a light shade. So I have my darker shade of purple and my lighter shade of purple, both of them with a metallic finish. So I went ahead and going to paint those on the base. Then I went and dry brushed the lighter colors on. Dry brushing is the technique where you're going to take your brush, put just a little bit of paint on it, scrape that paint off, let it dry just a little bit, and then find a spot on your model and just go swoosh, 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 swoosh. You're going to get as little paint on the model as possible, but it's going to create a nice highlighting and really brushed effect. Looks really dry and cool. After that, I took my really fine detailed brush and I did in all of the blue areas here on the model. Meanwhile, in between all of that, I also painted my scythe bits from my scythe video, and I'm working on a customization video for Terraforming Mars, so I went ahead and painted some of those. The last step is to varnish, but before that, because I forgot, we're actually going to put a wash on. I put a wash on these ones. I put a armor wash so that they look a little bit more greasy. Because, you know, the Anachrony is kind of set in this apocalyptic type of world. Then, after you've done your wash and you let it all dry, we're going to put on a varnish. That's primer. A varnish. That way, you're going to make the model have a little bit of extra to it, and it's not going to chip the paint off on your game. These are some ones that I painted earlier for Anachrony. I love this game. And the minis on it that you can actually buy extra, great upgrade, I'll talk about that later, are awesome. But the two peculiar things with these ones are, this one, I used a water type of wash on it, and it gives it an extra glistening, I'm kind of fresh out of the water. This one, I used a special effects paint on to give it a effect on the bottom for this cracked desert stuff. This stuff was really cool. It takes a long time to dry though, so make sure you let it dry. Another tip of what I forgot to do, when you're painting with light colors, make sure you prime with white and not black. Oops. And I messed that up 3 times because another set of the player bits for Scythe are actually supposed to be white. So now I have to go and reprime these in white. Although, another set of them is supposed to be black, so I don't even have to do anything with these ones that I primed because they're all nice and rugged looking like I like. That's pretty much it. Don't go crazy on colors, don't go crazy on brushes. You really don't have to, just get a little bit creative. And have some fun, because painting should be relaxing and therapeutic. It's a really gloomy day in Toronto, so I just painted away all morning. Now I'm gonna go get some food. Bye, girl.